Shirley and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first time here. And in this video I thought I'd explore several ways in which we can develop a life over 50 that we love, as well as at the same time developing our authentic self that we do love. How many times have you asked yourself, is this it? And the reason I say this is because I have been doing a lot of reflecting over time, and the reason I'm doing this really is because there's been several changes at home, which isn't the nicest thing, but there you go, life happens. You're probably at a stage in life where you think, well, what now? And if you've watched a few of my videos, you know that I focus mainly on nutrition and keeping fit over 50 or even 40. I have been thinking about how to develop this channel for us women who are at midlife and who are experiencing menopause. And I do watch quite a few other vloggers or other channels with women who are over 40 or in midlife, and a lot of the channels focus on beauty and keeping fashionable over 40 or over 50. But there aren't really any channels that talk about how we can develop ourselves at midlife, because this is a midlife transition. And it's not just about menopause, we're going through a different stage in our life. But I've noticed that for us who are in our midlife, there's very little support, and that's partly why I started talking about life in menopause. But I do realise also that there is very little for us in terms of self-development and loving ourselves. And I think this is one thing that going forward from 2022 onwards, I'm going to start including a lot more videos on, because one, it really interests me, and two, I think because of certain changes in my personal life at the moment, it's something that I'm doing to develop myself, and I think it would be nice to record how I'm developing over time, and also it's to show you, or not maybe, how things are improving over time. And to do that, I will be sharing what I'm doing to help me through this process. So I hope you'll continue on this journey with me. So I don't know about you, but towards the end of every year I always do a little bit of reflection on what's happened in the past year, and also where I want the new year to lead me in terms of goals or intentions and things like that. And in all honesty, this reflective practice started off way before the new year, or the end of 2021. Like a lot of us, the illness that's gone around the world has created a lot of issues in terms of interpersonal relationships, our beliefs and things like that, which has spurred me on to do the reflective practice pretty much throughout or for most of last year. And the one thing that I've come to realise is really that I have been living my life not how I want it to be, but how I'm pleasing other people. And this is the thing that really woke me up. But then also, if I wanted to change, I knew that I had to change myself first. And if you read any self-development books, whether it's for 20 or 30 somethings, one of the main things that they talk about is that nothing changes until you change yourself. That's if you do want to make a change in your life, it is a case of changing yourself first. And that's the one thing that I've come to realize. And the other thing is that you can't change other people or change circumstances. You can only change how you think about them, and that's the only control we will ever have. And that's really powerful, because when you know that you are in control of your thoughts, and by being able to control your thoughts, you can actually control how you react to people or situations that's happening in your life. And that is where you can make changes. So taking that time to reflect on what's going on in your life, and knowing that being able to control your thoughts is the starting point to making changes in your life. Now, I know for a fact this is a lot easier said than done, because I've been trying to do this for pretty much the whole of last year, or from last summer, and pretty much in reality for many years. So I know it's a lot easier said than done. So the second thing that I've been doing, and really this is the crux, or this is what all my previous videos are all about. Food isn't just about filling the hunger or the gap. It's about providing our body with the nutrients or the correct information for our body to support us in a healthy and positive way. And like everybody else, don't get me wrong, I do love eating biscuits and sweets and drinking alcohol, but I also know the effect that although I feel really good when I'm eating or drinking those things at the time, the next day or for the next few days I feel really rubbish. Brain fog, lack of sleep, heart palpitations really doesn't help in terms of how I feel about myself. And if you're like me, when you're feeling rubbish and brain fog and you want or you need to do things but your brain just isn't engaging, it's really not a nice feeling. And especially if you're having to work with other people. I know for a lot of you, you're going out there into the big wide world and you're having to face people, and when you're coping with brain fog as part of menopause, it's hard enough. But when you are having to face people and your brain fog is caused by poor food choices, too much alcohol, too much sugar, it's a really rubbish experience. And that's part of the issue of why I haven't been able to create more videos for this channel in the past 2 or 3 months, I think. It's because, like I said, the changes at home plus lack of sleep really does nothing for motivation to get anything going. So that's my second tip on developing a life you love, or developing your authentic self as well in that process, is to continue to eat whole foods or make healthier food choices. So the other thing I'm continuing to do is to go out and exercise 2 or 3 times a week. And again, over Christmas I did stop going out for a walk or being outside. One, namely because Christmas is always that time of comfort and sitting at home and just watching films and eating delicious, comforting, sweet foods. And I did notice that I put on weight over that time. But since I think the second week of January, I've started going back out again, and I've started with walking. which is the easiest thing to do, and walking about 8 to 10k every 2 to 3 days. And in the past 2 to 3 weeks I've started running again as well with it. So I will walk for the first kilometre and a half, and then there's a certain point in my track where I will start running, and I will do that for the next 5 kilometers. So I will run for as long as I can, and then I'll walk for a little bit, run, and I'll just keep doing that throughout the whole time. And in all honesty, I will probably walk the last 3 kilometers, namely because it gives me a chance to listen to audiobooks and learn about self-development, so goal setting, things like that. And I will put a link in the description down below on what the audiobook I'm listening to. And I do have the actual book itself, which I read when I have time, but at least when I am out walking, I will have the audiobook and I'll be listening to it. And that's part of self-development. It's not always something that you're doing when you're sitting down. There's a lot of ways that you can improve yourself and invest in yourself. And part of that is through audiobooks. And part of the reason really that I do look forward to going out and about is because just being out in nature, and I will just focus on the trees around me, even the dogs who are happily barking and running away from their owners, or even the children who are happy just being out running around in nature as well. And it gives us time to be away from our four walls. And when we're at home, especially me, when I'm at home a lot of the time, our brain can overthink, and a lot of the time it's also negative things which will put you more on a negative cycle of thoughts. So I do look forward to being out in nature. So not only will I be losing weight in terms of the running and the walking and keeping me fit and healthy and keeping the aches and pains at bay, but it also helps mentally by being in a different environment to the four walls that you may be surrounding yourself with. The other thing that I'm doing when it comes to reflection is reflecting by journaling. Reflection isn't just about sitting down and thinking things through, because a lot of the time we're just thinking and thinking and thinking, and it's like how long is a piece of string, and we never actually get to any conclusion that will leave us in a positive frame of mind, or in a frame of mind of, okay, so this is what I'm thinking, what can I do about it? I have started journaling again. Like what I've just said, we can think and think and think, but we never get to a sort of conclusion. And just as importantly, gives us a bit of an action to do as a result of our journaling. So by being able to write our thoughts down, what I've found is that just by doing that, you're taking it out of your head and seeing what you're thinking about in black and white. And a lot of the time, by doing that, the situation or situations doesn't seem as bad as it is when we're just thinking about it. And I do read sometimes what I've written down, but because by writing it down, it's so fresh, it's like seeing it from a different perspective. So by writing things down, it gives me the space to clarify what is actually in my head that's going round and around in circles. And it enables me to have that space to think that actually these thoughts aren't real. It's just going round in a negative cycle. And like what Albert Einstein says, you can't keep doing the same things over and over again and expect to get a different result. So by writing things down, it gives you the space to think about what you're thinking about, or that's what it feels like for me. It helps me to clarify what I'm thinking about, which then helps me to change my thoughts and change how I react to people and situations, and that's what journaling has helped me to do. Okay, so the last tip that I'm going to share that I'm doing to create a life that I love is going to be maybe a bit woo-woo for some people. And really, the tip that I'm going to share is being more aware of my thoughts. And the reason for that is because when we're thinking those negative thoughts, or it's creating a negative feeling within us. So for example, when you're thinking about what someone did, or you're thinking about something that you did that you didn't like, that really puts you in a low mood and you're vibrating in a low mood, and you can feel that within yourself too. You can feel yourself get low. So if you think about a happy situation, and one of the situations that I always think about that bring me really happy thoughts was when I was with my daughter, and she was, I think, about 2 or 3 years old, and we were on a train, and I was just watching how happy she was, just looking outside, looking at the things passing by as we went past in the train, and that just really brings happy memories. So you can tell the difference when you're thinking about something happy, you feel really good and you feel light. And when you think about something depressing or low, or something puts you in a low mood, you can feel yourself almost. And that's what I mean about being aware of our thoughts and our emotions. And the reason for that is, and this is where the woo-woo bit comes in, is because it's now well-known scientific fact that if you look at everything under a microscope, under a strong enough microscope, that there aren't really particles, there are energy. And I hope I'm not losing you in this, but we are all, everything on this earth and in the universe and everything around us is made up of energy. That energy is just molded into what we can see as ourselves, as a table, as a journal, as whatever you can see around you. Now, from a law of attraction perspective, the reason that you have to be aware of what you're thinking or what you're feeling is because that vibration or that feeling that you have, those thoughts and feelings that you have, is creating a vibration. If you're on social media, you probably come across the phrase, "your vibe attracts your tribe," and that is basically the woo-woo perspective bit of law of attraction, is how you're feeling or what you're thinking is reflecting out a vibration from you. And when you're feeling low or negative, a lot of the time that is basically what you're attracting. So for example, I know that when I'm feeling low or depressed, or you're in a foul mood, nothing goes right. Or things that you don't like just seem to gravitate towards you. And it wasn't until I came across this law of attraction where your vibration is attracting things to you. And that's why I've had to be more aware of the negative feelings that I'm feeling or the negative thoughts that I'm thinking. And it wasn't until I started becoming more conscious of what I am thinking that I didn't realise that I was on a habitual negative thought a lot of the time. And you know, whether it's I haven't got enough money, or I need to get some money, or those debts, oh my god, it's that time of the month again, or I can't do this, I can't do that. So I've been more aware of my thoughts, and I've been making a very conscious effort to change them. Again, making these changes when you've been doing them, but it's like it's such a part of you, it's like your personality to be negative. And we have to make those changes, because otherwise, when we continue to be in that negative cycle or in that negative vibration, nothing will ever change, or things will change, but they will change to the same thing instead of what we want. And that's the other thing, is you don't attract what you want, you attract what you want, is the other phrase that really we have to be aware of. And that's why I've been recently, or in the past 6 months, I've been becoming more aware of what I'm thinking. But it's really hard. So the one thing that I've done to help me make this a bit of an easier process is to set up a message on my phone. I need to change that message to say, think and speak only of what you want to experience. Because a lot of the time, like I've said, it's like part of us that we're not aware of, that we're in such a negative vibration, negative thoughts, negative feelings, and we've been like that for so many years that we're not even aware that we're actually doing it. So that's one way of making me more aware. And if you're like me, you pick up your phone, gosh, 300 times a day, or I don't know how many times, but I do pick up my phone quite frequently. And you need to, I think it's in the book called Atomic Habits, where he talked about layering your habitual things, that every time you pick up your phone, by having that there, it helps you to think about what you're thinking about, and to change your train of thought or your feelings from the continuous negative cycle to thinking and feeling or speaking about what you want to experience. So those are the things that I've been doing so far. From 2022 and from this video onwards, I will start incorporating tips in terms of what I'm using to develop a life that I love over time. And I hope you will keep coming back for those videos, and I hope that you found this video helpful. Now, if you are looking for an exercise or ways to get fit because you're having issues with weight gain, I will put a card in the card above and go and watch that video, and I'll see you in the next video.